We are doing Swachh Bharat for the past 11 years and the results on the ground are zero. And my open challenge to any government of India, whether it's a state government, the central government, and for people in power, it is very important for them not to acknowledge that there is no paper it up, cover it up, let's not talk about it. And how is that done? That is done by telling you to shut up.
So, like, if the academicians, the private sector, and the government, if they collaborate and work on data simultaneously, then we can come to some solution or start with acknowledging the problem.
That is how it has been world over. That is how solutions have been found world over. It's not a new deal with regard to this country. It's not a new problem with regard to this country. Worldwide, you have academics collaborate with the people in power, whether it's in politics or in the bureaucracy or wherever. And this kind of collaboration is the one which has been able to give you lasting solutions to problems. That's how they found problems to the accidents in the world. That's how they found problems to traffic issues. So in Melbourne, for instance, or in Sydney, the traffic specialists or the local police work with mathematicians to try and determine how it is that traffic should be controlled. So that's how it has happened all over the world. It's not something that is new. It's just that over here, perhaps, we were on a good trajectory all the way up to maybe 2010 or so. And then after that, somehow we've lost the path. We've muddled it up.
So, in India, we are a population of 140 crore people. But still, even if we raise these issues, none of the steps are being taken by the government. So, what can be done that government acts upon that and the people can come together and raise their voice?
So the number one thing that you have to stop thinking of India in terms of this big 140 crore number. Yeah. So 140 crore number is a number like any other number. China has also got a 160 crore number, and Bangladesh next door has a 20 crore number, and Indonesia also has a number which runs into the tens of crores. And so it's not like the 140 crore number is a holy cow. You understand? Let me place it before you in another way. If you look at Israel, or if you look at Sweden, or if you look at so many other countries in the world, the population is a crore or 1.5 crores or so on and so forth. The geographical area is also that much smaller. But what is India then if it is not 110, 120 Israels or 120 Swedens? So if you cannot recreate or multiply a multiplier effect into 1 into 120 or 140, what is the big deal about this number? There's nothing really so astronomical about 140 crore. You are 140 crore, great, but you're also 33,000 and change square kilometers. 33 lakhs, and change square kilometers. So it's not like you're very small geography contained in a very small area. You're a big number and spread across a huge subcontinent. So that's the number part. The second part is that the more important part is that the public awareness piece in terms of people learning to appreciate that breathing clean air is my right. Having pure water to drink is a fundamental requirement that I should have. If my parents had it, why can't I have it? I mean, India was always a poor country, an underdeveloped country, whatever. But even despite being poor and underdeveloped and whatever, they didn't have a situation where they were breathing poison. They didn't have a situation where a tagline went with breathing is injurious to your health. You understand? They could breathe whatever air there was and they could drink whatever water there was. So if you do not have clean air, pure water, and zero garbage, any model of development, no matter what model is being sold to you, hard sold to you, whether it is buildings or roads or whatever it is, if it cannot give you clean air, pure water and zero garbage, it is useless. It's not worth having. So it's as simple as that. And the day people start to talk on those lines, build movements along those lines, and eventually I'm very hopeful even voting on those lines, the day that starts to happen, that's when you will see the tipping point. And I'm very sure that the tipping point is very close by, because you have had 2 cities go through the tipping point. We have only 63 cities in India with 1 million plus people. So it's a matter of time before this is going to catch up, and these tipping points will come. So people will make this a priority. Right now it's just a crazy grab for whatever resources we can each lay our hands on. But tomorrow you realize whether you're rich or poor, you're breathing the same air, drinking the same water, and tolerating the same trash. So it's just a matter of time before the dynamic starts to change.
And how can data and the access to data play a role in this
So
movement?
today what's happening is that the problem is still very anecdotal for all of us. The problem still remains, what is the condition of the road or the traffic like between here and the college for you, or here and maybe Korega Park where you go out to party, or here and maybe some other place where you go out to hang out with some friends. So the problem still remains restricted for you within these anecdotal frameworks. So when you are traveling between here and let's say the college or something, you come across a pile of garbage and it's there every day. Maybe they clear it every day and it comes back by automatically every day. And then somewhere, okay, you have to start to think, why does this pile of garbage never seem to go away? Yeah. So now what's going to happen is we are going to, over a period of time, reach a tipping point where the garbage is going to extend from the road to the street in front of your house, to the compound of your building, to the place where you live. And it's not going to get picked up maybe for days together, because there is no place to take the garbage anymore. Some other method has to be found to fix the problem. And that is where perhaps the tipping point, I don't know. I mean, we are still researching this. A lot of people are spending a lot of time in India trying to research this. Where exactly is the tipping point going to be for a lot of people in India? Is it now for all kids who were born in Delhi after the year 2000, 7 out of 10 kids are infected with some sort of COPD or breathing disorder or lung disorder or asthma, or are dependent on nebulizers, etc. But now after 2020, almost all kids have some or the other breathing disorder.
Yeah.
So now that tipping point has been breached. Now when these kids grow up, will they normalize asthma and lung cancer, or will they actually start running a movement about the condition of the air in Delhi? So this is where I think things will start to change. It will make a difference.
Okay.
But the most important thing that's happening is that you and me are talking about it.
Yeah.
You see, if the data was freely available, if all of it, like you said, was easily interpretable for you, when you go to the website and you see, okay, this is the data, this is what it looks like, this is what it means to me as an individual, as an academic, as a student. So that's when you would be able to say, all right, this is comprehensible, this is easily applicable for me, and we are now let's try and talk about a solution. But if that is not happening, right? If that was happening, it wouldn't be an issue. If that is not happening, that's the reason you and I are having this conversation. So I'm hopeful that because we are having this conversation, things will change.
Yeah. So moving on to the last question, what is one innovation that can be made in future or right now that can help change the direction in which data quality and data collection can be improved and made accessible and comprehensive to the people right now?
So here the biggest contribution, the way I'm seeing it, is that of technology. Because for the first time in the history of this country, we are almost 100% educated. I'm saying almost because there's just that 15% of the population which is above the age of 65. So that 15% of the population also is educated, but there could be a certain percentage within that population where you can say, okay, they may not be literate or they are not educated or whatever. But the population below 65, other than the few exceptions, we are almost 100% educated, which is, I think, a big deal. And the other aspect of being educated or not being educated is that almost everybody has access to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you are not educated, you don't have to now go and queue up at a library to say, give me this information. That's not necessary anymore. Now you don't have to go and queue up some places to say, hey, Ansh, give me this information. Hey, so and so, please give me this info. You go, get on Google, Pune's population, Pune's air pollution, Pune's district area, Pune's whatever. You can get all the information of wherever you live at your tips. Right?
Yeah.
So it is much, much more easier to talk with people who are already empowered with education and with information than it is to try and make sense to people who do not know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's another matter that a lot of people still believe the canards that are spread on WhatsApp, and then every day they spread new canards on WhatsApp, and that's how the politicians like to keep you busy. But that apart, I mean, you can still. I see that amongst a lot of you kids when I'm teaching you or whatever, the moment you all have a tiff where you want to figure out who's correct over this, you say Google it, yeah? That's what you say. So it's become a quip. And what's going to happen with artificial intelligence and all of these things is you will get the data being fed to you very quickly. And that data being accurate or being validated or being correct is the crux of the matter.
Yeah.
Because every time you see data which is not corresponding with your reality, you are always going to question that. So in Delhi, what they did is with the government sensors, AQI sensors, they cut them off at 500, saying no giving any data above 500. But how long are you going to do this covering up business? There will be another sensor which is made by Swiss Air or some other company which will give you the real AQI at 1500 or 1600, and which will give you the PM 2.5 at 750 or whatever. And that is absolute poison. It's like smoking 750 cigarettes a day. If you're living in that environment, it's like living in a gas chamber. So how long will you continue to brazen your way through it? And I don't want to acknowledge the problem. No problem exists, but you cannot even see outside your front door. That's how bad things are. So data is key.
Yeah.
Unless there is data which is truthful, which is validated, which is agreed upon and peer reviewed by so many others, you can't make a start.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you, Ansh.
being in on our podcast. And it was really insightful to know that we need to acknowledge the problem first. Then we can only come up to a solution.
That's correct.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. So follow ShodhEco for more and stay tuned.